Science, Chapter 6, Lesson 3, the last lesson in our chapter. How do changes cause more changes? Living things live together in a system where one change may affect many organisms. Other changes can happen as a result. Changes in behavior. Ecosystems are systems of living and non-living things. As in any system, changes in one part of an ecosystem can affect other parts. Animals may change their behavior because there has been a change in the kinds of numbers of other animals in their ecosystem. For example, a pet cat might change its habits when a new puppy is brought into the home. The cat may spend more time on beds and chairs to keep away from the new animal. Changes in populations. Have you ever spent an evening outside and been bothered by mosquitoes? Mosquitoes are more than just annoying. They can spread disease such as malaria and West Nile virus. To limit these problems, people put pesticides in their mosquitoes' ecosystem. Pesticides are poisons that kill insects. This is what a mosquito looks like up close, magnified many times. He's got his long little nose there that bites you. That's what makes those little welts on your skin. Okay, turn the page to page 175. Some populations of mosquitoes have developed adaptations to this kind of change in their ecosystem. This happens when a few mosquitoes happen to have genes that make them able to live around the pesticides being used. While other mosquitoes die, the few mosquitoes with these genes survive and reproduce. Some of the offspring might have these genes too. They will survive and reproduce. This is an example of a species developing adaptations to a change in its ecosystem. Antibiotics are medicines used to kill disease-causing bacteria. Just as some mosquitoes have developed adaptations to living with pesticides, some bacteria have developed adaptations to living around antibiotics. When many bacteria have developed adaptations to an antibiotic, the medicine no longer works as well. The diseases the bacteria cause become harder to treat. Many people are surprised when bacteria first develop adaptations to survive antibiotics. Today, doctors expect more adaptations to happen. Researchers look for new medications that could be used with the current medicines when current medicines no longer work. Moving into the city. Usually, the growth of cities is thought of as being bad for wild animals. However, some species of large birds, such as hawks and falcons, have unexpectedly begun to make cities their homes. Why would these big birds choose a city as their new habitat? In cities, large birds can find pigeons and small animals to eat and lots of water to drink. Also, the tall buildings are like cliffs where the birds usually build nests. So, as developers are taking over lands and taking the land and using it to build cities and to build towns or to build other structures, the hawks are losing their homes. So they still need to find a place to live. So that's why they've moved into these big cities. They've adapted to what their environment is doing. Their environment is being changed to a city, so they're learning how to use the buildings, and there's plenty of food and water for them with the pigeons in the cities. So that's an adaptation that they've come to live with, because it wasn't their fault that their lands were taken and moved and made into cities. So they had to learn how to, I guess you would say, roll with it. All right, page 176. Extinction. Now, we know that there's a lot of animals that no longer exist, and that's what it means to be extinct. They have not been able to survive, and so the species themselves has become extinct and no longer able to see it or have it around. So let's read about it. Extinction. When a plant or animal species cannot adapt to harmful changes in an ecosystem, it must migrate to another place or it cannot survive. This often happens when food and resources become limited during droughts or floods. In cold winters or as cities grow, it is not always possible for a species to move to a new ecosystem. For example, plants cannot pull themselves up by the roots and walk to another place. Also, the changes may be so widespread that there is nowhere left to move. If a species does not move or adapt to harmful changes, its population size will decrease. The species may have become extinct. A species that is extinct has no members of its kind alive. One extinct animal is the dodo. The flightless bird survived well on an island until sailors arrived and brought rats, pigs, and monkeys into the ecosystem. The birds could not defend themselves or fly to safety on other islands. They became extinct around 1680. Fossils show that there have been a great variety of plants and animals that are now extinct. Species have become extinct as a result of many natural processes and human activities throughout history. What species do you know of that are extinct? Take a minute and I want you to think about that. What species do you know that no longer exists, that you've read about in history books or you've heard about? All right, I hope you came up with a few. And you can share them with the people in your household. All right, let's continue reading. Scientists can learn about past extinctions by studying fossils. The kind and numbers of fossils found in different kinds of rocks give clues about past ecosystems. Fossils give evidence that in any ecosystem, some plants and animals survive well and some do not. This is a fossil of an extinct animal that lived underwater. So you can see it's almost like a snail shell. But you can see it's all the ribbed lines here. And so it must have gotten flattened between the layers and it made an imprint in the rock, which is pretty cool. Miss Johnson likes fossils. And this, my friends, is the dodo. The dodo became extinct when its ecosystem changed. So, unfortunately, humans are responsible for the extinction of this bird. He's kind of cool looking. All right, let's turn the page to 177. Last page. Think about what happened to a symbol of the United States, the bald eagle. For many years, the pesticide DDT was put on farm fields to kill insects that ate the crops. Rains washed the pesticides into lakes and streams. Soon, fish had DDT in their bodies. Bald eagles ate the fish. When the fish laid eggs, the DDT made the eggshells thin. Many eggs broke because the young birds were ready to hatch. Other eggs did not hatch at all. The eagle did not adapt to the pesticide in its ecosystem. The eagle's population kept getting smaller because fewer offspring hatched. It seems that the eagles would disappear from most of the country. Their population started to grow again after using DDT was outlawed. Let's look at the picture about whooping cranes. When wetlands are drained from farms and cities, whooping cranes lose their nesting grounds. This beautiful bird came close to being extinct due to the loss of many wetlands and to hunting. In 1938, there were fewer than 36 whooping cranes alive, so that's less than 36. Many people have worked together to save the whooping crane from becoming extinct. So that's how people can help. Even though they can be responsible for hurting the environment, many people and organizations have come and decided to solve this problem because they've come to realize that humans are causing a lot of problems in the ecosystem and they want to help it. So they're trying to reverse the damage that has been done. So for lesson 3, the question I want you to focus on is number 3, cause and effect. The cause and then how it is affected. What was the cause of the bald eagle population getting smaller? Now we just read that in this whole paragraph right here And right here, I want you to go back and reread that. There's a very specific reason why they got smaller. Now, I don't want you to put just one sentence. I want you to expound on it. I want you to explain it. How did it? Okay, what was the cause of the bald eagle getting a smaller population? And I'd like you to answer how it affected it. Like, what happened because of that? So please go back and read and write down your answer on a piece of paper. So that paper you started back in lesson 1 with question number 1. In lesson 2, you answered question number 1. And in lesson 3, you answered question number 3. So all 3 of those should be on the same paper. And make sure you do complete sentences and you turn the question around. Okay, if you have any questions, email Ms. Johnson.